What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. I am back from vacation. As you can tell, I am back in my apartment here in Columbus, and only here for a couple of days because I'm gonna be heading to, ideally, I haven't got my travel just yet, but it's supposedly coming. Recording this video on Wednesday. Supposedly it's coming today or tomorrow. I'm heading to Saudi Arabia on Monday for EWC. So we're gonna do a series of like preview videos. I'm gonna start with Group D, and the whole point is to walk through all 4 teams, talk a little bit about sort of their form coming in, what's sort of the big question about the team, and then give you my group predictions. I think just sort of as a like early sort of thesis statement, I guess, sort of intro to what I kind of think about this series. It's a bit of an interesting tournament, EWC. We have a group stage, and then we got a very like fluky single in bracket. I think for top teams, the contenders, this is an opportunity to get one more win for the offseason and feel good about your momentum going into next season. And then for the middle to bottom teams, I think this is an opportunity for a lot of players to potentially increase their stock, maybe move on to different teams post EWC. And then for the challengers teams, the long shots, getting out of group is really, really key. And for some of those players, and we'll get to some of them, if they play well enough, they might get on the CDL team. So let's dive in. We're going to start with Group D. So here you go. Group D is, and sorry for the logo of 100 Thieves. To be honest, I have dark mode on, so that you guys don't get flashbangs. So you're welcome. You've got 100 Thieves, so LA Thieves playing on the 100 Thieves brand, Lore Gaming, Team Falcons, and Atlanta FaZe. So I think the way the seeding is supposed to work in this group is LA Thieves is seed 1, FaZe is seed 2, Falcons seed 3, and then Lore Gaming is seed 4. So Lore's going to play 100 Thieves round 1, and then FaZe will play Team Falcons round 1. If you don't remember or need a refresher on the format for how groups are going to work, they're GSL. So the double elimination bracket, win 2 before you lose 2. The team that goes 2-0 gets the number 1 seed out of this group, and then the team that goes 2-1 will get the second seed. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. I think I'm going to go in order of the way I think the teams are going to place in the group. So we're going to start with Team Falcons for this video. So if you don't know much about this Team Falcons squad, you might know King Abadi. He was someone that was very famous, especially in Cold War and in Vanguard, for doing a lot of late night 1v1s against some of these professional players. Eventually what happened is that, they got org representation from Falcons to go move to Europe and try and compete in the European Call of Duty scene and try and get, develop its players, kind of learn how to play a quality style, because it's not like a practice in the Middle East, and then go from there. So you kind of see like last year their results, and they went through a couple of different rosters, some mix, because you see Pac, kind of well-known challengers, EU players on the team at one point. But if we scroll to like this season, you see Vampire was on the squad. He left. They brought in Khalid kind of midway through the year, and that's been kind of their best lineup. But you see online that they have been really solid in EU, leading towards stage Elite 3 playoffs. They were able to actually win that online event. But you see that when it comes to lands, these guys have never really made it click. That being said, you see Miami was the last event that they really played, and that was not with Khalid. So we don't really have a lot of data to go on with this current 4, like how they're going to do with the squad against quality competition. Also, I don't know why Biffle, Zoka, and Shifty are listed here under Esports World Cup Warzone, but whatever. Shout out to those guys. They're the go-to Warzone. And I think to me, this graphic kind of sums up, I think, kind of what we saw from Falcons Online when they made that deep run, and they beat a lot of like the really good, EU teams on the EU, Clutch Rain, Team War example. Like the way they were winning those series though were game 5s. They were winning 2 S&Ds. They were stealing a respawn. Like that is sort of their MO against challengers players, because they're not really the world's greatest hardpoint team. They're not the world's greatest control team, but they are like fairly solid S&D players, at least in the EU region, and they are able to take maps off of some of these really experienced European players. The problem is then when I look at this group and you say, well, okay, so their best chance, unless they've really like just kind of rounded the form on hardpoint and control, and they're going to ride some hot maps coming into this, like, are they going to win searches against LA Thieves / 100 Thieves, one of the teams that played very good in S&D at Shams, Atlanta FaZe, who have been considered a top S&D squad for a number of years, and Lore Gaming, and we'll get to them in a second, a team that just won 3 S&Ds in Challengers Finals in order to win that event. Like, I just think the problem for Falcons is that because they're not a amazing respawn team, they're going to have a tough time beating some of these really quality search squads, which is what this group is about. Their first match is going to be against FaZe, and then they're probably going to lose that one, and then play Lore, and then that one might be gritty. We'll see, but I just think Falcons is happy to be there. That being said, for some of the players on Falcons, a couple of really good series here and some good networking with some of the players that are coming through. Might see an opportunity for players that have played really good online, like Khalid, to maybe get in the conversation for getting on one of these teams next year. It's a huge networking opportunity for them, and to sort of kind of, try and get their name on the board. So we'll see what they can do, but I think they're kind of just we're happy to be. All right, let's talk about lore then. Obviously, they are your challengers champions, beating a really solid Omid squad in the finals. So this is the squad with a lot of names that you probably know on lore. Turiel, Paul X, Yuli, and Alec, like all have been in the CDL in recent years. I think Yuli's probably the least pro league experienced players. I think he got kind of unlucky in that London situation, and I think he's going to get probably a shot here. But you know, Paul has been up there for a while. We've talked a lot about Paul on this channel. I think he's a talented player. Is trying to work on the other stuff in his game, because if he can do that, I think he's got a lot of staying power, especially as an era player. Turiel, I think just not a consistent enough Slayer, more of a role player, but has had some CDL stints and may get more chances. And I think Alec is a big one here. RCD's world champ. I think he's had kind of a little bit of a slide in the last 18 to 24 months, but maybe he's found something now. He's played very good in challengers, very good in S&D in challengers. We'll get to that in a second. Since he's been dropped down, and I think one more event is probably enough for him to try and maybe get another shot in the CDL next season. Like, I just want to point out here, like, these are from NA Elite Stage 3 and from Challenger Champs. I don't know if it's a full Challenger Champ stats, but you see that Alec with a 1.4 KD and a like that first blood percentage. I mean, 0.83 kill for respawn for an AR. Like, Alec has played very good in this game mode, and you could see if we go game mode by game mode, obviously you're gonna need to scroll down a little bit to find him as far as his sort of respawn hardpoint numbers. All right, Alex right there, 0.94 in hardpoint. And you see in control 1.12. So hardpoint been a weak mode for him. Overall KD really not too bad, but I think the S&D is very interesting because that was a problem for Alex last couple of stints. But look, my point to you is this: is Lord Gaming played very good at Challenger Champs, and I think in particular S&D was the reason that they won. Because they played Omid, and Omid was beating them in the respawns, but Lore was taking the S&Ds, and it went all the way, and Lore was like comfortably winning these surges. But again, the same problem as Falcons. As good as this Lore Gaming team is in S&D, they're going to play two of the better search teams down the stretch of the CDL season, LA Thieves and Atlanta FaZe. They want to get out of this group. So I think the key question for me with Lore is how they improve their hardpoint, how they improve their control. Can they take a first map of some of these squads when they pick a team B? Thinking of FaZe and Thieves, we will see. I think there is some also interesting like friendship stuff going here because Alec is obviously good friends with Tyler ABEZY. He's good friends with Joe Thieves. Like there's a lot of like knowledge and trying to one up. And I think especially Alec is the player for me to watch on Lore if he can really like hard carry this team deep out of the group stages. But I think what's going to happen with Lore is that I think they're going to probably take Thieves the distance and then lose in game 5 because LA Thieves generally don't win series pretty clean. And I'm not expecting clean first series from a lot of these teams because they're traveling across the globe and they haven't played a competitive match in like weeks. So some of those first series could get weird. I expect them to be Falcons, and they're gonna have to play their Thieves or FaZe probably to get out of groups. I just don't see them doing that. But if they can win that first upset, like let's say they beat Thieves and they got to play say FaZe to get out, and they lose and they got to rematch with Thieves, it might be doable for them to beat Thieves twice. Keep your eye on this one, but right now I got Lore finishing third in this group, and potentially a good showing from the guys to kind of get in the mix for roster man. All right, so the team I think is going to finish second in this group is LA Thieves. I think the key question for me with Thieves, when you see like how they played at Champs and getting that top 4 placing was like super awesome out of them. I didn't really see that coming. I thought one of the top 4 teams would potentially, you know, get upset at Champs, but I really didn't see, you know, Thieves getting that far and then losing kind of that heartbreaker to Toronto game 5. The question for me for Thieves is, was that their peak, right? Like, can they kind of push on from where this is at, keep that sort of hot hand going in hardpoint, and being serviceable in control, which they weren't all season? You know, improve some of these S&Ds. They lost a couple really close searches. Can they get to another level and kind of make noise at this tournament when some of the other top teams are looking like a little bit sketchy? I think the problem for me is it's really hard to keep that kind of like form in hardpoint. The crazy thing was obviously them kind of like Nezloing or attempting, or the fact that Toronto did Nezlo against them to beat them in that loser semis. You see here, like they took a hard point off of Optic Texas, who ended up winning the event. They went 4-0 against Toronto in hard points at Champs. Crazy. But you see, you know, they obviously beat Miami. They lost 2 hard points to New York, but New York obviously coming on that really good hard point streak. And that was obviously at Major 4. I think is the key point to me, because I think that Thieves will probably swing back around in S&D. Toronto seemed to have really rounded off their S&D issues at Champs, and obviously Optic Texas as well. was a team that they played that was also playing good at search. And I think the overlying numbers, if you kind of dive into this, and we're not going to do it in this video, in the S&D are like not too bad for LA Thieves. They just lost a couple of close ones. And the control, they were kind of 500, which is sort of about where they are sort of in S&D anyway. It's just a question of like, can they keep this momentum up, right? Can they keep this momentum up going in this event, get out of groups, and kind of just keep that going? I mean, I think it's possible because they're going in this event and playing with like probably not that much pressure, you would think. Obviously, I think there will be changes to the Thieves lineup next season. I think they will attempt to pack a punch, and there are potential some interesting pack a punch options if they can keep Dan especially. I don't think they're like under tremendous pressure to win, and that might kind of help them sort of get into their top 4 or higher at this tournament. And we'll see if they can get a victory against FaZe. The reason I have them getting second in this group is their history against FaZe this season has been not great. If you look at Turtle Sheet here, they have played FaZe 4 times, and they have taken 3 maps to them and lost 12. They have not beaten them in a single S&D. I could see them definitely being in a search potentially this event, but you see with the respawn, they are able to steal a hard point there against them, but control obviously also an issue as well. And just of note, so we can go through all those matches. The last time they played was a really long time ago, Major 4 qualifiers, and FaZe beat them 3-1. FaZe beat them on LAN in Major 2, online in Major 2, and then in the Major 1 qualifier. So they've only played once on LAN this year, but generally FaZe has had their number in getting that done 3-1. Or getting that done 3-0. So, you know, I think these could still be a close series, a la the last time they played at LAN, right? The one exception that was Major 2. You see here that this was like a pretty close series that went down to the wire, and obviously FaZe kind of at that moment were like a very good high-res S&D team. They still are pretty good. But they were able to kind of run away with that one at the end. So, it's very surprising. Thieves actually took an invasion control off of them, and FaZe have been a bit iffy on the map. Maybe we get another repeat game 5. I just think FaZe will probably kind of take another 3-1 against Thieves. And then I think Thieves will take care of business and get that second seed, and we'll see what the draw looks like. All right, let's get to the last team here. The team that I think most people surprisingly have been speculating about. And the reason I say surprising is I don't really think anyone saw them getting top 6 at champs is Atlanta FaZe, and the team I think with the biggest questions coming in this event. Like, what version of FaZe are we going to get, right? Is this the classic FaZe we get that rebound off of poor stints like this, and they're going to just like shut everybody up, make a deep run, and then feel really good about their momentum going into next year? Or are they going to continue this slide, and then we might see the end of the trio? Because in my personal opinion, based on the way the rest of the season has gone, I don't think Zach's the problem. I was there in person. I could tell you, I don't think Zach Draza is the problem. I think it is 2 members of the trio in my eyes, Tyler ABEZY and CELLIUM, that both are negatively contributing in different ways to the lack of success on this team. I think MC, as much has been talked about his speed and how slow he plays. I think that one we have talked to death, and I agree on that point. And I think for Tyler ABEZY, let's just not sugarcoat it. Like, he is not played at the elite top 2, top S3 SMG level that we kind of expect out of him. I think there are a number of subs that have had better seasons than he has had. And I think his slide is really at times affected their respawn, at times affected their S&D, especially on Invasion Search, where he is the kind of rotation player playing tank. If he's not confident, he's getting caught out and he's getting blooded. And MC's kind of their bridge player and kind of island player in a lot of those situations. In Invasion S&D, that's why they've been losing that map recently. I think Tyler's been throwing away his lives in Invasion Control, for example. So I think both of those players have to play good. If they can play good, then I think they are like going to be one of the teams to beat in this tournament. Like, these stats are insane for me. Kind of at the level that this team should be playing from champs, right? Like, you see, they were just like a bottom tier hardpoint team at champs, and you see they really played 3 series and they won 2 hardpoints. They were both against Miami. They didn't win a single hardpoint against New York or a single hardpoint against Toronto, even though the ones against New York were close. They got blown out by Toronto. And you see, like, weirdly enough, they're winning first bloods in S&D at champs. They aren't converting those rounds. And in particular, like, they need Tyler and NMC to step up in general. I think Tyler in particular in S&D, right? And then we scroll up here in hardpoint. I think MC just plays too slow based on these numbers. Tyler, you see how much quicker Tyler plays than MC. Tyler actually frying in hardpoint, but you see sort of MC's lack of activity, I think, really hurts him at times in hardpoint. And then, yeah, you see the KD issue for Tyler in control. So I think if this team can speed up, get confidence, play with swagger, because that's their big thing, right? If they can play with swagger, we know they have it because they've already won an event this year. playing that way. If they can do that, great. If not, this might be it, bro. This might be it. They might not get out of group stage. Okay, I think they're going to get out of group stage. They might lose in the first round, get top 8, and then I don't know what happens with this team. So I think they're going to get out of this group. It might be a little bit sketchy. Again, I don't expect everybody to play their best COD in that first series. Going up against Team Falcons, maybe it's a little bit of a sketchy 3-1. But if they can kind of keep that going, close out Thieves, and we'll see what kind of bracket draw they get. They might generate momentum, and they might be one of the favorites to win. But I can also see a version of FaZe that continues kind of playing this B- COD. They get out of groups, they lose in the first round, and then it all just kind of blows up from there, and we spend 3 or 4 weeks figuring out what this team is going to do. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this group. I got FaZe first, Thieves second, Lore third, and then Team Falcons getting last. I could see Thieves and FaZe really kind of flipping that, because the one time they did play on LAN, it went to a game 5, although the game 5 wasn't really close. But I just don't see how the two amateur teams, Falcons, with the lack of their quality, like good win, like deep tournament experience at LAN, and Lore Gaming, just a respawn process. I just don't see how those two teams really challenge these two squads. But obviously with international travel and all of the particulars around this event, I really do think there could be some upsets that we just don't expect. All right, let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the video. Like if you enjoyed it, we're going to keep going through all of the groups, group C, B, and then A. I'll also kind of give you my a bracket predictions based on who I think gets out of groups. We'll do that next week. Let me know what you guys think. As always, guys, we will see you on the next video.